said bond them, yeah. Fake friends, me I'm bond them. Bond them, bond them.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you know me already, you will know that most of my late teenagehood was with Chloe, my friend Chloe. Yeah, and I'm about to tell you the most ridiculous youth camping trip we went on with our youth club. As you've heard about our youth club in previous videos, if you've been here before. So this was a youth club that was like owned by like a Christian company. So usually in the summer, okay, why am I saying summer? What is April summer? Okay, between spring and summer in April, they would usually have a youth camp that we can all go to. Yeah, it's fairly good priced and it's worth it, but I went there twice, I think in April of 2016 and April 2017, I think I went, yeah. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to speak about both of them, but I'm definitely going to speak about the 2016 one, and that was the one where Chloe and Bestie both came to. Like, they were both there. On this trip, it usually took like 4 hours to get there and back. It was in a place called Lichfield, which is like close to, like, was it Birmingham? I think it's close to Birmingham. And usually, I think an hour and a half or 2 hours into the journey, I might be wrong, we'd usually stop off at like a service station where you can just get a bit of food and eat, use the toilet, and then be back on your way up to Lichfield. So that's how it went on. The journey was okay. Usually most of us slept through it or listened to music through it, but sometimes the journey was, I don't know which year it was, 2016 or 2017, but at one point, yeah, a bird, it wasn't on my one, it was on the coach that one of the boys was on. I think a bird flew past the window and yo, oh my goodness, bashed into the window of the coach smashed. And before you go, you can request who you might want to be in a room with. You know, you can choose your friends, just to make sure that you're in a room with like your friends and people you know. I obviously put down Bestie and Chloe because those were my two friends, and apart from Bestie and Chloe, since Kelly didn't go and Millie didn't go either, everybody else that came to camp that was in our group, they were all boys, and because Dylan was definitely one of them, and then there was about 5 other boys, including Dylan, and they split up all of like the girls and boys, obviously, because, you know, it's like a Christian camp and they don't want any funny business going on, even though that wasn't a problem for me because, you know, gay. So and Bestie, it wasn't a problem for Bestie either because she doesn't even like people like that, and that's like, they're like our brothers, like they're like our bros. But so it was a bit sad because we was like, oh, we always say like how sick it would have been if like we was just all in a big room together. Like, I think that like you could fit 6 people in a room, so like even if it was like me and Bestie and then like 4 of the boys, it would have been so epic. But the boys had to go all the way on the other side in their dormitories, and we had to go all the way on this side on the girls' side. So most of the time when Chloe, after me and Chloe broke friends and it was just me and Bestie, it was just us two, and then like the rest of our whole group was in the boys section. So it was quite sad. But then lunchtimes were the littiest, but we're gonna get into that. So 2016, Bestie didn't get put in our room, and I'm not sure why. Do I still have the badge? We had a badge from, oh, I've still got it. Hold on. This was the 2017 one. I'm not sure where the 2016 one is, but this was the 2017 one. You can see here, it says Atlanta. But they spelt the last thing wrong here. I was in the Buttermere block and I was in room 9, if you can see. And this one was Camp Unleashed 2017. I think the 2016 one I'm speaking about is Camp Legacy 2016 that went to camp had one of these in both years, and then if you couldn't have things, it would say on the back, like on the back of mine here it says no lamb or green peas because I don't eat that. And yeah, so we got there, all of us, and we was like so excited, like, oh my gosh, what room are we gonna be in, what room are we gonna be in? Like, we were so excited. Like, I think we met up with the boys. They found that they was in the same room, like all of them. I think mostly all of them was in the same room, so they were happy. And then me, Bestie, and Chloe went to see what room we was in, and we was like, oh. So me and Chloe were in the same room. Bestie wasn't. Bestie was in a separate room, and she was in a different dormitory. Like, she was in a different block. So that's when we was like, oh, that's peak. Obviously, Bestie didn't mind that much because she was in a room with like people that were okay. But obviously we was like, oh, that's a bit peak. So then me and Chloe was like, so who else are we in a room with? So we was looking at number 9 and like on the door. But on the door, it obviously said, I need to close that curtain. But on the door it said Atlanta, Chloe, and then the 2 other girls that was in the room with us. And we was like, oh, I mean, I think I knew one of them. I don't think Chloe had a problem with them either. So, and she knew one of them as well. So everything was cool at first. So as the days went by, usually at camp, like, we'd wake up around, I'm trying to remember the schedule, but it was quite early. So I think we'd wake up around 8. You'd have to wake up, then you'd have to go into the main lounge area, and in each dormitory there's like a main lounge area. There's about 3 girls blocks, 4 maybe, and I think the same with the boys side, and each of those blocks have 1 lounge area. So we'd wake up, get ready, then we'd have to all go into the lounge area to sit down and talk and like get ready for the day. I think there was like morning prayer as well. We would then have to go to the main hall where it's like everybody from all of them leave each of their blocks, and everyone goes, sits down, and it's like sort of like an assembly hall, but it's like a concert stage one where you'd have like, sometimes you'd have motivational speakers speaking about things, you'd have like performances, like singing and stuff like that, and throughout the day you did different activities. Because youth club was mainly like a art sort of youth club, you get to choose what you want your main art activity to be. So you could either choose drama, music, or dance, or I think they did have arts and crafts as well. So I think in the 2016 I chose drama, but I think in the 2017 when I was just with Bestie I chose music. And what you would do is I think at some point during the week, because you was there for 5 days, I think it's Monday to Friday, you would perform, and so you would work up to the stage where you'd perform in front of like the hall. So that's what we do. There would also be loads of different spontaneous activities during the day as well. Like there would be a sports activity, and there would also be you could do anything. There would be like, I think there was like a cake making activity, like a chocolate making activity as well. Just everything would be going on. I remember both years I kind of like cut from I didn't do the sport activity. I think in 2016 I like stayed in my room in the dormitory during the sport activity. And in 2017, while Bestie was doing football, I kind of like went to go do chocolate making or something, because I just knew that I wouldn't be able to play football. So but I did do, in 2016 I did do raft building, and I remember, was it raft building? Yeah, where we had to build our own raft out of like, what was it, like inflatable plastic sort of thing. And I remember I was terrified that I was gonna fall, and literally I think someone started falling, like, and oh my gosh, they dragged the whole thing down, all of the rest of us fell. I was like, I'm gonna die. All around us see familiar faces. I was like, I'm gonna die. I fell into the water. I was like, oh my gosh. And I think Chloe was very, very upset with that as well. Chloe is very upset with that. She's like, you just dragged us all down. Like, but other than that, usually around lunchtimes we would just go and meet the boys. Baby, you're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only
lunch goals. Lunch goals.
So me and Bestie, and I think when Chloe was there as well, we would usually just go and meet the boys, and we'd all just go sit on the table. And it was so funny because me and Bestie were speaking about this as well the other day. Like, we would sit on the table, and it would be, I'm gonna say from now, let me count, me, Bestie, Chloe, if she was there, yeah, the time she was there, Dylan, then you got, I think there's about 9 people or maybe more. And when Dylan's sister came, there was like 10, and then you had like all of the boys, like extended friends as well from their block. So our table would end up having like 15 plus people, and there wouldn't be no space, and everyone will have to move up until they're sitting like so close to each other. And then like like sometimes we had the staff members came and sat on the table as well. And then like our table was like the life of the room, like, and we always sat like near the middle as well. So our table would have like going up to 20 people, and there would be no space, everyone would be crammed next to each other. I don't even think everyone could even fit their food on the table. It was so jokes. So like as soon as it was lunchtime, me and Bestie would go and run to the table, like we would sprint to make sure that we get a space on that table, which was jokes. And but like, yeah, from that, so the first year, I think 2016, it was a bit peak because like obviously when it came to like, so after the whole day of activities, like you had normal lunch, you had like normal, so in the morning you would have your morning prayer, then you have your breakfast, then go to the hall, then you have all your main activities throughout the day, lunch, more activities, then it would be like dinner, and then like you'd have like a down activity, you'd have like a down entertainment in the hall, and then you'd all go back to your dormitories, sit down, have downtime before bed, and then you would go to bed. Then you go to bed. So throughout the day, yeah, so I think on our first night, me and Chloe was in the room, and Millie called me on FaceTime. Millie called me on FaceTime, and oh my gosh, like so on FaceTime it's loudspeaker, so she called me on FaceTime, and like me and Chloe was like, hi, and she's like, what are you guys doing? And then we was like, oh no, we're just in the room, like it's bedtime now. And then she's like, oh, what, she probably said, oh, what, Bestie's not with you? And we was like, nah, she wasn't put in our room, she's not with us this time. And she's like, oh, who you in the room with? And at the time she knew one of the girls, so she's like, who you in the room with? And then I was like, oh, we got put in the room with Maisie and Shona, and she knew Shona. I'm gonna call them Maisie and Shona, and she knew Shona, and she's literally just like, oh, what the one from blah blah blah. I forgot what she said, but she's like, oh, what, the one with the blah 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 blah. But I think what she said was it was peaked. And at the time she forgot that, like she didn't know that Shona and Maisie was in the room with us, and like it was bare quiet, the light was off and everyone was ready to go to sleep, and like Shona and Maisie both heard, and me and Chloe just went silent, and she's like, crap, are they in the room with you? And we was like, yeah, and she's like, Atlanta, you're, she's like, why would, I was like, I didn't know you was gonna say that. So that was bare awkward, so that even started it off from the beginning. So we just had to say bye to Millie and catch up with her like later on or whenever. So then obviously, like, I don't even know like what it was a bit awkward for us in the room, and I think Chloe started doing some things that started annoying Maisie and Shona as well, and it all led up to a point where I mean, Chloe, I'm not going to say exactly what she did because I don't want to be too peak, but Chloe messed up the whole bathroom and then just left it. And like messed up the whole toilet and everything and just left it. And then I think we must have been in an activity or doing something else, and me and Chloe both got pulled out of the activity and brought back to the room. So I must have been there thinking like, yo, like, why am I here? Like, what have I done? And they're like, okay, they brought us to the bathroom and they're like, what is this? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what this is, like. I was like, I never did this. And then Chloe was like, I never did this, blah 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 blah. And Shona and Maisie were insistent. They were like, no, this one of you two done it, blah blah blah. I know damn well that I didn't do it. And I feel like in my heart a little bit I knew that Chloe did it, but I wasn't gonna like throw her under the bus. So like literally they're like, this needs to be cleaned up, this is pathetic, and obviously we're going to be moving Maisie and showing her out the room because they don't want to share with you two anymore. So they moved out the room, and oh my gosh, it was a whole big hysteria from there. Then so we had like a 2 spare beds in the room now, because there is some rooms of 6, but I think we was in a room of 4. I think we were, or something like that. So we was in that room of 4, and I think there was a girl, I'm gonna call her Sarah, and I think Sarah was having some issues in her room, I'm not even sure. So she asked, so like she just came and moved to our room. So I think, but before she came to move to our room, I think that me and Chloe was in Sarah's room just mucking around, and I think my phone must have fell out my bag, like so I lost that phone, and I was looking around like, yo, like I think during the night I was looking for that phone, and I was like, I've lost my phone, I don't know where it is. So I was looking for the phone everywhere, I couldn't find it, and I think at one point they just said, oh yeah, just go to bed, blah 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 blah. So I think that night I went to bed so angry, like so upset, and when it came to the morning now, I continued looking through my stuff for the phone, and I couldn't find it. So I just refused to get up and get ready, and like obviously after you get ready you're meant to go to the lounge. I said I'm not going to the lounge, and I was very upset. And then I think one of the staff members came in and like, what's wrong? And I was just like, I've lost my phone and I'm not leaving this room until I find the phone or whatever. So then she said, where did you have it last? And I was like, the only other place I remember having the phone would be in Sarah's room, where I was sitting on the floor. So that staff member went to Sarah's room to see if the phone was there, and she came back with the phone, and I was just like, I knew it. And I was like, where was it? And apparently it was underneath the bed or something like that. So then I got the phone back. Now there was constant bickering throughout the dormitories, and so Sarah came to move to our room, and she was in our room for a while. And that's when like a whole heap of madness started happening. Like someone in like a dormitory like next to us lost money. Bestie, I think someone stole money from Bestie as well, and that's when I was like, this is getting serious, because there seems to be like a serial thief in the like in between the girls' blocks, and no one knows who it is. So that's when I started getting stressed. Chloe had like a padlock on her suitcase to prevent anyone from getting in, but I think I slept with like some of my stuff under my pillow, like in my bed. At the same time, I was on some medication. And I remember this so clearly. It was coming around late afternoon, evening, and I was on some medication, and I took that medication and my eyes just went, and I was like, yo, I was walking down the corridor with Chloe. We probably just got back from seeing Bestie, and I was walking down the corridor with Chloe, and I was like, yo, oh my gosh, yo, I was like, Chloe, my eyes, like I'm telling you, I was I was walking, I was like, why is everything so blurry? I was like, no. I was like, I need to call my mum. I called my mum. I think my mum was trying to reassure me. She's like, no, it's fine, blah blah blah. I think they got the on-site nurse to come. And she was shining the torch in my eyes and everything, and she's like, you know what, maybe just try and drink some water, maybe you're dehydrated with it. And then she also said, oh, it could be a thing where here you have set meals. So like a lot of people in their daily life, they don't have like big breakfast, big lunch and big dinners. Like their diet may vary, but here, because you get like all three and it's like big meals, like sometimes your body can go into shock because you're eating so much that you don't usually eat. But I was just there like, no, I'm dying, no. I wasn't listening to anyone. So I just got sent back to my room, and I just had to rest. At some point, I think like my vision cleared up, and I was like, yo. But like, okay, since what did I call them? Maisie and Shona moved out the room, me and Chloe's room was marked from then. Every single second we had staff coming in the room, and when the people's money started getting stolen, they came to our room to ask us. And this is when I was like, yo. I can put my hand on the Holy Bible that I didn't take that money. I was like, I never took no money. She came in the room moving wild. Like, she forgot, yeah, that it's not me. It's not me that caused all of the troublemaking. It was actually Chloe. But she came in the room looking wild. And the thing with me, I don't like being accused of things that I didn't do. So I was just there like, come and search my stuff now. Like, don't even play with me. They didn't find anything. They left the room. Like, that member of staff, literally every single time she'll come in the room every single second. And like, literally, like, and I remember that one time we snuck up the room and Chloe started making bare hot chocolate. I'm telling you, big hot chocolate. Yo, we got in the biggest trouble. We actually got in the biggest trouble. Like, literally, they came in, like, the lady came and like sat down, and obviously she could see, I'm not saying that like Chloe was like a like evil person, but like, you know, she was quite troublemaking. And I think that the lady could see that like I wasn't like, I was just friends with her. Like, I just wasn't exactly like that. I remember one time we was in the hall during like the entertainment service, and the lady was literally just like, okay, she took me to one side and she's like, okay, I can see that you're not a bad person, I can see you're a good person, but you need to, like, I can see that obviously you're pulled into trouble a lot, and like you just need to find it in yourself. Like, I think at some point, I feel like I'm always talking about Dylan's phone, but at some point Dylan's phone broke while he was rehearsing for a dance at the camp. Like, his phone just smashed on the floor. Everything was going on, I didn't even know, and it was all just getting mad. Like this, like the second year, the 2017 one, the one where it was just me and Bestie in the room now, that went peak because we was in a room and like none of us were like, none of us got along really. Like, it wasn't like beefing, like shouting, getting along, but it was like passive aggressive. I think like it was just like, oh, like none of us really spoke. We spoke to Sarah and that was it. Like, I think the other two girls, like, we didn't speak to them at all. And I think it was quite peaked, a little bit of like rudeness happening in the room. I don't even know what's going on, but everyone moved out the room and there was always some drama going on. At the same point, the same thing happened this year. We was with the boys again, plus an extra one who we spoke to, and obviously Dylan's sister came that second year, and so she was with us. We were just kind of like looking out for her, and I think at some point, yeah, she made friends. Yeah, Dylan's sister made friends with this other girl that was in her room, who at the time we didn't actually know was Kelly's sister. Like, Kelly's sister that she'd never met. So that's why later on, when Kelly said to us, do we know this girl? We was like, yeah, we went to camp with her. So that was handy. But yeah, so it was the same thing happened the second year, just extraordinary things. At the end of the second year, there was a competition where I think it was all of the blocks against each other, and whoever won got to get like a pizza night. I don't know if it was like every block against every block, or if it was just like the girls and boys had a separate one. I can't remember. But all I know is that my block didn't win. But at the time, I think because the boys were over in their block, they thought that our block won. So I think Dylan was snapping us and sending us videos, or like, and he's like, hey, what are you guys saying, what are you guys doing? And we were sending it back like we're just here in our room. And I think at one point, what am I gonna call him? Let me call him Josh. Josh was like, how's that pizza, fam? He's like, how was that pizza? But like, and then me and Bessie were crying. It's like, we didn't win. We're just here with our dry food. Like, we didn't get the pizza night. We got nothing. We're just here with our crackers and water. Yeah, I think there was also a time as well where, was it for the dinner? It was the dinner, innit? It was like lamb, potatoes, and green peas. And I was like, well, that's great. So I guess I'm just having potatoes. I did compromise, and I had like pasta from the salad bar. Oh my gosh, when they did the jollof rice and chicken, I'm telling you, the boys were flying up there. The boys were going up for first, fourths and fifths. Oh my gosh. I think at some point they had to tell everyone that they can't, that they need to stop eating because they're gonna make all their food run out before everyone gets some. But yeah, that was the story of camp. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. As before, give me ideas of what you want to see. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the near future. Bye.
Hey, hey, yeah, pagans on it. Pagans, we say bond them. We say bond them, yeah. Fake friends, me abandon. Bond them, bond them.